I'm going to read a selection from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, which is a fantastic science fiction classic. And in this section, the main human protagonist, Arthur Dent, and his alien friend, Ford Prefect, have been shot into space and scooped up at the last possible instant by a traveling spaceship. What kind of spaceship? We will find out. This video is dedicated to my father, whose birthday it is today. So happy birthday, Dad. Thank you for introducing me to this and so many other wonderful books. On the pavement lay Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent, gulping like half-spent fish. "There you are," gasped Ford. "I told you I'd think of something." "Oh, sure," said Arthur, "sure. Bright idea of mine to find a passing spaceship and get rescued by it." The real universe arched sickeningly away beneath them. Various pretend ones flitted silently by, like mountain goats. Primal light exploded, splattering space-time as with gobbets of junket. Time blossomed. Matter shrank away. The highest prime number coalesced quietly in a corner and hid itself away forever. "What sort of ship are we in?" asked Arthur, as the pit of eternity yawned beneath them. "I don't know," said Ford. They watched with a certain unease as huge children bounced heavily along the sand, and wild horses thundered through the sky. Wild yowling noises of pipes and strings seared through the wind. Hot donuts popped out of the road for 10 pence each. Horrid fish stormed out of the sky, and Arthur and Ford decided to make a run for it. They plunged through heavy walls of sound, mountains of archaic thought, valleys of mood music, and suddenly heard a girl's voice. 2 to the power of 100,000 to 1 against and falling. What was that voice? I don't know, it sounded like a measurement of probability. Probability? What do you mean? Probability, like 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 5 to 4 against. It said 2 to the power of 100,000 to 1 against. That's pretty improbable, A 1,000,000-gallon vat of custard upended itself over them without warning. "But what does it mean?" said Arthur. "What, the custard? No, the measurement of probability. I don't know at all. I think we're on some kind of spaceship." I can only assume that this is not the first-class compartment. Bugles appeared in the fabric of space-time. Great, ugly bugles. "Hello!" said Arthur, as he felt his body softening and bending in unusual directions. "My legs are drifting off into the sunset. My left arm's come off." He wound his eyes desperately around in Ford's direction. "Ford, you're turning into a penguin. Stop it." 2 to the power of 75,000 to 1 against and falling. Ford waddled around his pond in a furious circle. "Hey, who are you?" he quacked. "Where are you? What's going on? And is there any way of stopping it?" "Please relax. You are perfectly safe." "But that's not the point. The point is that I am now a perfectly safe penguin, and my colleague here is rapidly running out of limbs. That's all right. I've got them back now." 2 to the power of 50,000 to 1 against and falling. Admittedly, they're longer than I usually like them, but isn't there anything, squawked Ford in avian fury, that you ought to be telling us? "Welcome to the Starship Heart of Ford. We are now cruising at a level of 2 to the power of 25,000 to 1 against and falling, and we will be restoring normality just as soon as we are sure what is normal anyway. Thank you. 2 to the power of 20,000 to 1 against, and falling. Ford was wildly excited. Arthur, he said, this is fantastic! We've been picked up by a ship powered by the infinite improbability drive! This is incredible! Arthur, Arthur, what's happening? Arthur had jammed himself against the door to a luminous pink cubicle, trying to hold it closed. Tiny, furry little hands were squeezing themselves through the cracks. Their fingers were ink-stained. Tiny voices chattered insanely. Arthur looked up. Ford, he said, there's an infinite number of monkeys outside who want to talk to us about the script for Hamlet they've worked out.